Kensil Culture, Puppets, Props, Puns, Podcasts.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another issue of that pop culture magazine, Kensil Culture.
Hey, everybody, it's nice to be back here again in the studio here with the legendary Wid here on Kensil Culture. And Wid, this show is broadcast originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Well, yeah.
And in honor of that, I have the Curly football doll. What's that in your hand there?
Look, football, we're talking about the, look, and here's a little curly Q.
He's good like that. Hey, Wid, are you feeling well? How was your weekend?
Hey, the Eagles won, okay? I'm not a big football fan, except when, the last couple of games, you got to be, if you're from Philadelphia, and you don't want the Giants. I don't want to say anything about the Giants, but what's the difference between the Giants and Captain Crunch?
What?
Captain Crunch belongs in a bowl, okay? And I know I'm a serial joke teller like that, but how about, who was the quarterback? Does anybody know who the quarterback was for?
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah?
Yes. And
I hear his mother sent him to college and all this stuff and financed him, and she only got a quarterback. I'm sorry. That's second down. Okay.
Well, that's cool, though. In Philadelphia, they're celebrating. They're lighting cars on fire and, putting Eddie Hardy T-shirts on pigeons. They're just all excited.
Didn't a guy eat horse hockey?
Oh, that's something.
He ate horse hockey, okay, and you know what hockey means. It's I know, what the puck does that mean? But no, horse hockey, and he was just so filled with celebration, he actually ate it, like Divine did in Pink Flamingos.
Yes.
But this was horse. Okay.
This story he's talking about. You always hear about that. Sports stars around the world always say Philadelphia has the worst sports fans. And there's a story that we all know about. In 1966, they bombarded Santa Claus on a TV game with ice balls.
Oh, of course.
And it wasn't a snowball. It was like compacted ice, and it hurt them. And they've done this before,
Poor
too.
Santa.
When Dallas played here years ago with Jimmy Johnson, they threw ice balls at him, and sometimes people threw batteries. Like, they're totally, oh, my God, just some people just like, it's reprehensible. And one time they were on Monday Night Football. Okay. Major game televised, like a big game against Dallas.
We're bad. We're bad fans.
And somebody shot a flare gun off in the stadium. And it's just totally ridiculous. But when the celebration of, was it 2018 when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, the people in Philadelphia went crazy. They even had a police detail that was greasing up all the light poles because people were climbing up there and hanging from light poles.
They actually did that this year, too.
Yes.
Somebody's winning, but they greased those poles, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And it's, the Italians do that for entertainment. They grease a pole and you got to climb up and get a prosciutto.
And they look for any reason to it, like Tony Danza's birthday, Godfather 2's on AMC. But at the last celebration, all Phillies fans are screaming, "Yeah, go Eagles!" And they're screaming. This one drunken guy runs up and he grabs a big giant pile of horse manure from a police horse.
Okay.
And he goes, "Yeah, Eagles!" He started eating it. He's going,
why the long face? I'll tell you, that's why.
Don't be a naysayer. But
I guess he wasn't stable. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
I don't think he was, but it behooves me. But he Yeah. Well, anyway, I love when you hear. You probably do this too, and everybody out there. You ever watch an old TV show or an old movie and you go, "I know that guy," and you immediately pull your phone out and do an IMDb search. You see something, you probably do it. Oh, I know that.
Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah, that guy.
I want to know who these people.
Like that guy was in Inherit the Earth, and he was in a Christmas Story. He was in a Zapruder film, stuff like that. But I was trying to find.
Wait a minute. The Zapruder film was the actual 8mm, film that Mr. Zapruder took. Okay.
Yes, you know that.
And how could that actor have been there?
Well,
unless it was, unless it was one of those conspiracies.
That's only set. That film was not released. The Zapruder film, like the late '60s, like 5 years after the Kennedy assassination. But it was more of a longer film. Like there was him doing honeymoon stuff with his wife.
The book was better.
Yes, Hemingway. But so anyway, back to the thing about the guy eating the horse manure. Right. I hope it was. Well, I think his only rule for eating it had to be kosher. But this is non-fat horse manure. Right. It makes me gaffy. But
at least they're vegetarians. Okay, yes, the horses,
yes,
right?
That's right. But I went online trying to find this guy.
Okay.
And this made news around the world. The UK, Philadelphia Eagles fans in celebration eats horse, whatever they call it over in Europe, the horse meat pies.
Yeah.
Right? But
you're up to no good.
Blood pudding. All right. All right. And so he ate. Well, I've been trying for years to find. I know people know who this guy is because he had to be like a neighborhood guy in town. But
he had all the gear on. He had all the, and just to do something like that in your hometown, and maybe he worked around horses.
Yeah, maybe he's into that, right? Like he sang at the stables. Hey man, you gonna throw that away? So, but also,
how about the horse walks into the restaurant and the waiter goes, "Hey," and he goes, "How did you know?"
What do you call
my favorite?
What does a horse say in San Francisco?
What's that?
Hey, that's not an anti-whatever joke. That was in today's family.
That's all you gotta say.
That was in today's family circus.
That's
right.
Be a little patient. Okay.
Gotten Himmel. So, but also around the same time period.
Yes, sir.
In the city of Philadelphia, was a big, fat, blonde-haired guy. Not me. The guy looked like John Candy or like Chris Farley with all messed up hair.
Okay.
I think they were playing a New York team, like a New York Giants. It was a football game. Or was it baseball? It was the Philadelphia team was playing a New York team, and a father and his daughter were sitting there enjoying the game, but they're from out of town. They were not from Philadelphia.
The Jets?
Yes.
No, come on. I'm winging it. That's not right, brother.
Anyway, this big fat guy. I'm sorry, heavy set guy, skinny challenged, but he right. So the guy, he was like yelling out at the baseball or football game. I'm almost sure it was a baseball game now. But he got mad at the father and his daughter in front of him.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, "Hey, mind your own business," what did he do? He made himself throw up over the guy and his daughter. Right? He was, and all I saw was that the guy got arrested for it. Had his mug shot, and he was like, "Gah," and his right eye was all black.
Yeah, somebody punched him in the face.
Oh yeah, definitely right.
That's like, that's the ultimate in skeeviness.
Yeah.
That's the only one who would be, maybe eating horse hockey.
Oh, what's up, Chuck?
Oh,
well, here I went online. Whatever happened to that guy?
Well,
and he died like 8 months later. And he was a kid, like 22 years old. He wasn't like a.
He really died?
Yeah, he died. I'm like, oh, I wish this story had a funny ending.
I'm
like,
sorry to hear that.
He was going to other games. Well, now he's probably vomiting on angels in heaven. But today, before the show, we had an exciting story happen to me.
Happened to John Kensil.
Yes.
Okay.
I had
the big boss, right?
With the hot sauce, the heater. The population across the nation is watching the show. Blah, 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 blah. But
of course, Jerry Blavitt. We have to say something about Jerry. Jerry was a very, very interesting character. Very interesting character, right there. Look, I'm still not professional when I'm thinking about poor Jerry Blavat and the years that he spent spinning those records and making people happy. I mean, you know.
Now, the person he's talking about here, people, is a famous Boss jock from Philadelphia. Boss jocks were very, very popular because they played what the kids want to hear in the 50s and 60s and 70s. And their music was really popular because kids weren't bored by watching cable TV all day, MTV and all that stuff. Back then.
Yeah, they only looked at the, 45 records were only 2 minutes, so we had short attention spans too.
Well, this guy was still around. He was beloved in Philadelphia, like a Philadelphia icon. He was like Rocky Balboa, but real. But he was a short, thin little guy. He was half Italian, half Jewish. There's no joke there. But he was about 5 foot, I don't know, 6, and he was
he was
real thin.
He was a shorty, but he started dancing on
American.
Right there.
On this magazine.
Like Dick Clark, right there. He started at 13. Jerry Blavat started on a dancer.
Right. And he loved dancing till the day he died. But he was a real popular DJ in Philly but he would, like, back in the 60s, you had a favorite song, you could write him a letter.
Right.
I don't think he called. And you would ask for a certain time. Can you please play the music? Play this song between 5:30 and 6 o'clock on a Friday. But he was enormously popular, and his show was syndicated around the country. But he had the discophonic scene in Philadelphia. He had a dance shows similar to American Bandstand, but he was well known across the country. And he had that pattern, that skippy, that talky.
Hey, I'm the geeter with the heater, the boss with the hot sauce. That was his. Salutations. Yeah. Okay, he was.
Don't be moaning. I got Crohn's disease.
I think he's one of the last of the constantly working. Okay, and they called him the geeter with the heater because he used to hold the guns at the mafia funerals. Okay, because he was a trusted individual. I guess if you're on the radio all the time, they know where to get you.
Well, he was a very interesting guy, and he was always out and about in Philadelphia.
And he was on one of your favorite shows, John.
Sex and the City. Oh! No, he was on the Monkees. Yeah, right? And I have the life-size Davy Jones right here. But he was on the Monkees one time because he was a very popular DJ across the country.
Yeah, he broke a lot of artists.
My God! And he knew them all, and they knew him. And I've noticed about some certain performers like Wid, Gilbert Gottfried, Artie Lang, Jackie the Joke Man. These guys have their memories of specific things. It's incredible. 1972, I did this. 1981, I did this. But Jerry Blavat was really an interesting character, and not in my neighborhood where I live in Philadelphia.
He taught us about different records, and he would talk in between. And he would keep going with the pattern. He'd have music in the background, and he would go, hey, and this artist did this then, and this artist also had a hit. This record should have been played more. This record never played like records that you heard all the time. He
loved that doo-wop and like music from the 50s and 60s and Dion. Sure. And then he liked to fall into the Motown stuff. But he still had a show today on the hip station in Philadelphia called 88.5. He had a show on Friday nights. But it was really
WXPN.
But it was really cool because, like Wid said, he played a song called I Shaved My Junk in the Back of a Cadillac. Sorry, I went to Filthtown. But he would play that song, and then he would play another artist doing it, and he'd weave the songs. You have both records spinning, and we go from the first artist to the second artist. And he said, and that song was re-recorded in 1981 by the Paul Revere and the Bellhops.
He would play records that were influenced or redone by other artists. Like you would say, oh, that's a George Harrison song, but really it was a song from the 60s or 50s. He did it on a couple occasions where people would cover songs and people think, oh, that artist did it. And then he would go back in his files and he knew everything about records. I mean, he was
this is really interesting.
Great individual.
Wid's right. There's a guy named Ben Vaughn, who I think is from the area, but he has a band called Ben Vaughn's Combo. But he loves that quirky, alternative, offbeat music. But he did the sound track for Third Rock from the Sun and other shows and movies. He's just really interesting music lover and musician. Anyway, he does a radio show called Ben Vaughn's whatever hour, right? Well, he did a tribute to Jerry Blavat last night. And this is really cool. He went to Jerry Blavat. This is before he died. He went to Jerry Blavat's townhouse, and he found a sack
I know this one because he found a sack of envelopes that were actually from how long ago?
1962.
Wow. And so that's almost 30 years ago. No, but he found a sack of requests from people who wanted him to play a record. That's what the old DJs would do. They would take requests by mail. We didn't have those. This is how you had to do it sometimes too. But he found a sack of them from 1962, and
they were never opened.
They were never opened because he probably received so many of them, or somebody miscategorized them.
I think there was because he's reading some requests, but like 3 were like gas bills.
Your guess is as good as mine.
All right. Oh my God, the couch is going back to Sears.
But when he would read them on the air 50 years later.
Well, it was really well. That's what they did last night. He went to the Ben Vaughn went to Jerry's town, and he had a bag of those envelopes, and he's reading. Hey, can you please play Soldier Boy by the?
Yeah, my boyfriend's going off to.
By the Shirelles, is it?
Yeah.
Right? He goes, Soldier Boy. Well, he played that. He goes, and she goes, because my 2 friends are going off to Vietnam. They probably didn't see much action because they were in the early part of the war. But he read that. It's really cool. And he'll say something like, Soldier Boy, 1962 by the Shirelles. He goes, originally recorded by a band out of Poughkeepsie, New York, the Cat Stomachs. Right?
He used to come to our comedians, get together on the day before Thanksgiving, and he would come there, and here he was, he must have been 80 when he was standing up on top of a table dancing to the Soul Crusaders or Soul
Survivors or
Soul.
Oh, all right. I have 2 stories I can tell about him.
Still doing it.
You have time for this?
Sure.
I have 2 stories about Jerry Blavat. All right. Now he's passed away. I can say it. One.
Oh, I hope it's gossipy.
Both of them are. I will tell the story, and I'll tell the story, and I will use polite language.
Well, yeah, just
yes.
All
right. We were talking to Jerry Blavat one time at a function. This had to be 10 years ago. And
my man, pots and pans.
That's what he'd say. My man's a weed. The man with the props, the prop master general, prop. Orville Redenbacher, the weed. And he would always snap his fingers, and he had that pattern.
It was cool.
And he could talk that way till and his voice never changed. No, it's weird too. If you do find the video of this guy, Jerry Blavat, he sounds just like Jackie the Joke Man. Same voice.
Wow.
Only he had the pattern, like the rhyming words. All right. I was talking to him at the comedians get together. He wasn't there for us, but this venue has a bunch of Christmas parties.
Right, and he knows some of the comedians.
Yeah, he knew them all.
Yeah, he knew Big Daddy and then a couple of Conklin.
I was talking to him about all the hot girls here at these events, and he goes, "Thank God I got the pump installed." He goes, "I can still perform. I can still get with the ladies." I go, "What do you mean?" And here he told me he got a. Can I use the clinical word? A pee-pee pump, right? And that's not what I thought. It wasn't the thing that looks like a habit trail. It was something else. It's put in your body by an operation.
Yeah,
and it's in a man's area, and there's a pump on, and you pump it up like you're doing what do you call it? Your blood test.
Okay.
And then you can perform. And he told me he had one so he could perform, and I'm like, don't ever meet your heroes. I don't want to hear that or think about it. When I went home, I was putting holy water in my ears.
The Geeter with the Peter.
All right. You know what's funny too? That pump's going to go up on eBay this week. All right. Now here's story number 2. Now this is controversial. This may break new grounds.
Wow.
All right. 1990 8, I was talking to a comedian friend of mine.
Uh-oh.
All right. And he said, yeah, I used to see Jerry Blavat all the time at in the Jersey Shore. There's a famous nightclub called Memories in Margate.
And there's another one, too. There's one.
Oh, yeah, the other one in Seattle.
And there used to be one up near Cherry Hill, right on the, I think that one closed.
Yeah.
But that's how popular he was. He had 2,
Well, this is interesting. All right, and I'll tell my friend's story first. My friend says, yeah, one time years and years ago in the 70s, went down to Memories of Margate to see Jerry Blavat because his special guest that show was none other than famous guitar player who I think is the real father of rock, Chuck Berry. Because it's rock is a guitar to me and toughness, right? And also Bill Haley, but this is...
there's lots of scandals about Chuck Berry, though.
Oh, my God. Do not look up... Oh, you can do this. Look up, see if you can do a search of Chuck Berry and the Hooker. And there's a video of it. That's all I'll say. All right.
Is that a children's book?
No. It's a video. Watch the video.
Okay.
Children's book. See Chuck Berry. See the girl. See the girl ask for her money. All right. So, she goes. Anyway. So this is my friend's story first. He said he was down Margate with his friend in the 1970s, and Chuck Berry was performing. He said when he wasn't looking, Chuck Berry took a break. His friend had a floor-length black leather overcoat, suit, outdoor jacket. When no one was looking, he walked over, put the leather overcoat on top of the guitar, and stole it and walked out the door with it, and stole the guitar. And my friend told me, yeah, he's got the guitar hanging in his basement of his house in Northeast Philadelphia.
Oh my God!
Right now, this story. My friend
Chuck
told me,
Berry's guitar must be worth $1 billion on eBay now.
But I'm sure they're looking for it too. And people who get famous artists who get their guitar stolen eventually do find them because there's like detectives who will find the serial number if it's on a pawn shop. They will find it. So, all right. That story my friend told me was 25 years ago. I was 4 years old when he told me. Ladies. So, all right. Jerry Blavat, I have his book. He put out about, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
All right, about 10 years ago.
What's it called?
I think it's called the Geeter with the Heater. The Geeter's Greatest Hits or something.
Why'd they call him the Geeter with the Heater?
I have no idea.
Because he used to hold the guns at the mafia funerals.
Oh, the Geeter with the heater, the heater gun, right?
Yeah, and that's how he got, because they knew where to find him.
So, in his book, he tells that story of the missing guitar, right? But here's his story. He contacted Little Richard to perform at his nightclub for it was $20,000 for
Little Richard,
the piano player. Woo!
He's the architect of rock and roll.
Yes, he is.
Tutti Frutti, Rudy.
Yes, he was very good on the piano
and very. He was outwardly gay,
yes.
and was proud of it. And he called himself the Georgia Peach.
Yes,
okay?
Yeah, that's right. He was. He's incredible too.
He and Chuck Berry are the architects of rock and roll.
I would say so. Yes. So the week of the show, he had contracted for Little Richard. On Monday, Little Richard says, I'm not doing it. I want $30,000 to do it.
Up front.
All right. And Jerry said, I can't do that. I might be wrong on the numbers. I know it was in the tens and 20s of thousands, right? So Jerry Blavat goes, I can't do that. You just changed everything around. And I had the whole show promoted and booked. So he goes, what's the next best thing or the same best thing? So he got Chuck Berry. And he says in the book that Chuck Berry wanted $20,000 cash.
Okay. 2
ladies of the evening, and I think a backup band.
Isn't that in our contract too?
Yes. Mine, yes. So,
or we get day nurses.
So he tells a story in the book. He goes, so Chuck's on stage at my club in Margate. He goes to take a break. He comes back to the stage. His guitar's missing. Right? He goes, so we locked all the doors, and believe you me, Chuck got his guitar back. Right? And now, in the story I was before that, my friend goes, no, the guitar's at his house. So I don't know who to believe. I never saw the guitar, but I heard the story from somebody else 25 years ago who was there with the person that took it. But I think if my friend who did steal it, and they did catch him, he'd be arrested, or something would have happened to him.
Right.
Jerry Blavat does not say that in the book. Like, we beat the crap out of this guy, and he says, swim with the fishes. So I think the first story's true, and he was just making up for it.
He would swim with the fishes?
Jerry Blavat's friends took care of him.
It must have been a basketball.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Sleep with the fishes, not swim with the fishes.
How about that Chuck Berry, though? I mean, he was, he and Little Richard, bop, bop, a loop, bop, a wop, bam, boom.
And it's, but Chuck Berry's incredible. Yes. Did you ever meet him?
Who?
Chuck Berry?
Chuck Berry, no. I saw him in Memphis, okay, high up on a ridge, just a half a mile from the Mississippi, and that's exactly where I saw him.
Like the song?
Yeah, right on the Mississippi. He was playing outside, and big concert, and it was, it was great. I mean, he plays every Johnny Be Good and then beyond.
The stories I've heard about him.
Everybody says he's like,
he had his own restaurant in, like, I think it was St. Louis. Missouri.
Because there's a St. Louis, Kansas.
In heaven with Jesus.
St. Louis.
Is there a St. Louis?
There's two St. Louis's, yeah.
Wait, do you mean the state or the city?
Spell Mississippi. What, the river or the state? Okay. Sorry.
So he had a restaurant, and he got caught videotaping ladies going to the bathroom. Like, I had a hidden camera. And he got, like, the number of women was, it's like 1,200 women or 120. It was a really high number. And I think he did a couple years. Did he do some time in jail for income tax evasion?
Income tax evasion. No, and taking minors over the state
line. Oh, yeah, that was a big
for
deal.
Immoral purposes.
But he also, like, there's stories about him, and his music is, like, great today.
Even Keith Richards said about him, I love how he plays, but I couldn't warm up to him if I set him on fire.
Did you hear that story about him when he met Keith Richards?
What did he?
Keith Richards idolized him. So did George Harrison.
Keith Richards from the Rolling Stones and George Harrison from the Beatles both idolized him.
Yes. Well, they did a tribute to Chuck Berry on TV, and these guys were in seventh heaven because they were playing with him. All these famous guitar players. And it's very similar to the episode. I think it's called Hail, Hail, Rock and Roll.
Yeah, I saw it in the movies.
And it's very similar to the ones when those guys all backed up Roy Orbison.
Right.
So all these great guitar players are there. And backstage, Keith Richards sold Chuck Berry's famous red guitar.
Wow.
And he picked it up, and Chuck Berry came back, and what do you think he did? He punched Keith Richards in the face. And I know several for touching his guitar. He was not the happiest guy off stage. I know.
How could Chuck Berry punch that old man?
I know. Yeah.
He was old even back then.
Yeah. There was one more thing. As Chuck Berry, a very interesting guy, crazy off stage stuff he was involved in. And, oh, God, I should read a great story about this, too. I know several musicians, I bet Wid does, too, who actually played with Chuck Berry. When Chuck Berry would come to town to a venue, he would ask for a drummer and a bass player, or a bass player.
Yeah.
A drummer. And there could be anybody at all. But I think they got paid through the union or just asked for it. And all they had to do was keep a beat behind him. He would yell out the chord changes behind, like, key of C 157, and they just had to keep the beat for him. But every single person I know that ever backed him up said he was screaming at us, he's yelling at us, and stuff like that.
Oh, that's like, some band leaders, they do that. They get into that like almost a drill instructor, and they'll throw around. That's Buddy Rich, okay?
Another
famous drummer. He would yell at his bands, and, it's a viral tape that everybody should hear, Buddy Rich yelling at his band. Buddy Rich, one of the greatest drummer out there, okay? Everybody followed Buddy Rich, but he used to yell, and I'm sure Chuck did too. I know that Tommy Dorsey even, he would yell at his bands, and, now everybody's got, ego problems. They don't let anybody be the boss. Benny Goodman was the worst of all, like reprimanding his band.
Yeah, this is true. Wid, guess what?
What?
That's it for this episode of cancel culture.
And we just want to say we love Jerry Blavat, and and we're glad that there's been such an outpouring of admiration for the guy. And I just want to say God bless Jerry Blavat.
And thanks for watching. Please spread the news about cancel culture and subscribe on YouTube and listen to Cancel Culture on all podcast formats.
Yeah!